Eighth grade parents. I'm going to be providing information through this presentation to help your eighth grade student transition into high school at ESCO next year. I'm Nikki Peterson. I'm the high school counselor at ESCO, and after listening to this presentation and reviewing your students' Explore test, if you have any further questions, feel free to email me or call me with the contact information on this screen. As part of this presentation, we're going to review the Explore results that you received in the mail that your student took this past October. I'm going to discuss the graduation requirements and options that students have throughout high school. I will discuss what takes place throughout the high school to help your student plan for what they want to do after high school and their post-secondary plans. And we'll be reviewing the registration process for your student registering for their 9th grade classes, which will be happening the first few weeks of March. So your students took the Explore test, which is part of a pre-ACT series that was given to all 8th grade students in the state of Minnesota this past fall. This test has two sections on it. It has an academic portion where a student is tested in English, math, reading, and science. So their score results for that, in addition to interest inventory that was given to them that gives them possibilities of career areas that they may be interested in based on their likes and dislikes. We'll be reviewing those results, and in addition to, there can be resources that can be found on ACT's website, which is listed on the slide. So as you're looking at your student's score report, at the top of the report, there's information related to their scores in each of the academic areas tested. The Explore test is based on a scale of 1 to 25, and the composite score is the average of all 4 tests averaged into a composite, and the range of that is 1 to 25. Underneath that, you'll see each academic section broken down and a score related to those subtests. To the right of it is a percentile based on your student's score, and there's a comparison for the students that took this test in the fall throughout the nation, in addition to a comparison of your student's score related to the score of students in our school here at ESCO. On the next slide, this gives us more of a breakdown of some averages within ESCO versus the nation to help you understand your student's score a little bit more. The average composite score for the ACT this past fall was a 15.5. At ESCO, it was a 16.7, so it gives you a little bit more information to help you kind of compare where your student's score falls against other averages throughout our school and the nation. This is just kind of a snapshot of each of the areas where they're at within their academic areas based on the test. This is the first time your student has taken a timed test. Each of these tests were given under time, and it mirrors what the ACT will be doing for each of those areas. Typically, if an average score is where a student is required to place on the ACT in order to be considered college ready. With that said, this is just a snapshot of where they're at in 8th grade, and we also give another test in 10th grade, and then before we give the ACT in 11th grade to our juniors. So it's a piece of information as to where they're at currently. Like I said, the plan is given in 10th grade, and based on the score that your student got on the Explore, they anticipate where their score range might fall in 2 years when they take the plan test, which is the test given right before the ACT. Typically the score range is a few points above what their score was on the Explore because The plan has a scale out of 32 points, so it's a little bit larger of a test with more questions, and it anticipates if your student continues to do what they've been doing academically, where their next score should fall. The portion of the test that indicates their plans for after high school, this was based on a self-report of your students stating what they wanted to do in addition to what their, at this time that we did this in October, what their career area preference was. College readiness benchmarks are set by ACT. Those benchmarks are scores that ACT determines that would be where they're setting the standard or the score of where students should be at in order to be considered college ready. So if your student fell above the score that's listed, the check mark would be in the above box. If they received the score that's listed, then they would be in the at, and if they got a score that was lower than the score listed, then they would be below college readiness. And this is just a way for students to kind of understand how their skills relate to college readiness and maybe things that they can do to improve their skills to be considered college ready by the time they're out of high school. The second portion of the test has to do with career possibilities. Students were given an interest inventory, and based on their responses, there's a shaded in area on the World of Work map and on the career area list, and that's related to things that they stated they liked or disliked, and it gave them more information on how the world of work might relate to their interests. And that's something that was reviewed with them in a classroom session a while back. Next, we'll move on to graduation requirements. The graduation requirements that students are required to have 9th through 12th grade are listed on this slide. These are the credits that students will be accumulating on their transcript in order to graduate. In addition to the number of credits a student is required to accumulate for graduation, they also have to participate in a college and career assessment series, which is part of what the Explore was. There's another test, the Plan in 10th grade and the ACT in 11th grade that they'll be taking, in addition to meeting standards in the reading and math MCAs given in 10th and 11th grade respectively. There is a difference, obviously, between the credits that they've been earning in 7th and 8th grade and now that they're starting their high school transcript, and this is something that I share with them when I have them register and when I go into the classroom and share the registration process with them, but is also important to share with parents. Some of the differences is obviously up until this point they've been told which classes that they'll be taking, and they're put on a schedule for them where they start to have some choice once they get into high school as to what elective courses they want to take, and further down the road what level of math and science they want to take. High school classes are based on semesters, where each semester is a half a credit for a semester course. And with their high school transcript, they start accumulating their credits in addition to a GPA and a class rank. Also on their high school transcript is their test scores on the college and career assessments and MCAs. But the high school transcript is what a college looks at in order to determine whether or not they're meeting the requirements for the courses that they're taking, in addition to the class rank GPA requirements that they have. Some of the things that are determined based on their class rank and GPA start in 9th grade. And when it comes to the college and the schools and PSEO courses that are offered during the junior year, students are reminded that their grades that they earn in 9th grade are part of the cumulative GPA that is looked at when determining who can participate in those programs. And this is a state program, and these are the guidelines that they have. The college in the schools classes means that the student is taking courses within our building that they align to whatever it is that the college that we're receiving those credits for. Right now it's Fond du Lac Community College. They're meeting certain requirements that the college is requiring our teachers to provide, but then they're accumulating those credits throughout through the college itself. So those are credits that students can transfer then when they do start college after high school. PSEO means that the student is attending the college and earning the same credits. However, they're taking them out of our building. These two programs are available to juniors who are in the top third of our class. So, and in our senior class, it would require you to be in the top half of the class. At this point, the college is also requiring a student to take another placement test, which is the Accuplacer, in order to determine if they have the skills required to do college courses. In addition to the college and the schools classes, we have an advanced placement class in math during the senior year that students are able to take for college credit. Just to kind of show you where the top third and the top half lie within each of the grade levels, I put out the GPA that is equivalent to the top third. So by the time students are in 10th grade, it's determined if they're in the top third in order for them to register for those college courses in 11th grade. And that GPA is usually the top third and above, or the 33rd percentile and above is at a 3.6. So the students that are right around a 3.6 and above are the students able to take college in the schools courses their junior year. And then it opens up to more students the senior year where the top half gets to, and that typically ends up being students who are about a 3.2 and above. So it just kind of gives you an idea of where students' grades need to be in order to participate in those options. In addition to the academic stuff, there's also things that we do throughout a student's high school career to be able to give them a lot of opportunities to plan for and think about what they want to do after high school. And we do some pretty intentional things with having students look individually where they're at and what they want to do, starting with this 8th grade Explore test, helping students create a personal learning plan for themselves and setting goals for themselves so they can see how, starting in 9th grade, their academics, their choices of the classes that they're taking do affect the options that they have after high school. There's certain tests that they're going to have to take, but we also give them experiences by going to college fairs. We do conferences in the 11th grade year also to sit down and kind of help plan, make sure that students have what they're required to have for whatever option it is that they're looking at. We do a lot of tours. We also have a class that spends a semester in 11th grade exploring some of these options individually for students to really prepare them and give them the information needed to make the best decision for themselves for whatever it is that they're choosing to do after high school. And those are kind of laid out on this continuum on this slide. Registration is going to be the first 2 weeks of March this year. That will be something that is on our ESCO website through the parent portal on Infinite Campus. The registration will be available starting March 2nd and will go through the 13th, and that will be a function available on the website. I'm going to be going into the classroom, into the 8th grade classroom to show them where that is and how to register and talk to them about some of the things that I've shared with you about differences between high school and middle school classes, to talk about requirements that they're going to have and show them how to register. But the registration can be found through the parent portal on Infinite Campus at the ESCO website, which is listed on the bottom. That will be available for them for 2 weeks. And as I said at the beginning of this presentation, please feel free to call or email with any questions that you might have related to your son or daughter transitioning into the high school. Hopefully you found this presentation helpful, and again, contact me if you have any further questions.